Good morning to one and all present here. My name is Aditya Bank, and for today's GyanBit, we are going to have a session on Django for beginners. My name is Aditya Bank, and I am from Sri Madhuvadiraga Institute of Technology, and I'm currently pursuing my engineering in computer science. I'm in first year. So today we'll be discussing about Django introduction, objective, Django workflow, and demo. Under introduction, we'll briefly talk about Django, its purpose and project overview. Under objective, we'll look at the goal of building the project and its expected outcomes. In Django workflow, we'll look at the FVT, that is form, view, and template. In demo, we'll show a project output and final summary. Objective of this project is to demonstrate Django framework usage, build simple web application efficiently, where the user enters name, principal, weight, time, and the system will calculate using the formula P into T into R divided by 100. It will show current date dynamically using the Python module datetime, and we can learn about forms processing and dynamic output. Moving forward was Django. Django is basically a high-level Python web framework. It allows rapid development efficiency. It promotes clean practical design patterns. It follows the MVT, that is models, view, templates, architecture model. Models handle the database, whereas views handle backend logic. Templates handle the user interface. It's open source and widely used globally. Some facts are that it was developed in 2003, released open source in 2005 worldwide. It was named after jazz guitarist Django. It is used in Pinterest, Instagram, Mozilla, and Disqus. Its popular Python framework allowed for its speed, security, and simplicity. It was developed by two developers, Brian and Simon. Let's begin. I'm going to be using VS Code for my coding. Yeah. So, one second. Yep. Yep. So, let's start with step one, that is to create a Django project. We use the command Django admin start project, sorry, start project Django 1. Now, as we see, we have a project called as Django 1. It will have all the basic set of files such as settings.py, urls.py, etc. Now, let's go to step 2, that is, we have to move inside Django 1 by using cd Django 1. Now, since we are in cd Django 1, we have to start an app. Let's say app 1, Django admin, start app 1. So we have successfully created an application app 1. Each app in Django handles a specific feature of a project. In our case, it will be simple interest calculation. So in this app folder, it will have all the default files, models.py, test.py, views.py. We'll mainly work around views.py. Moving forward, let's go to step 3, that is registering our app in settings.py under Django 1. In this, we have to, I'll just close the terminal and let's go to yep. So in we have to search for installed apps and we have to register our app, that is app 1. Once this is done, let's move to the next step, that is configure URLs in urls.py. Let's do that. Yep. In this we have to add the path, that is app1 slash include path. Sorry, app include app1.urls, not path. Include app1.urls. Now in this path also we have to add include. Yep. This is done. This work is done. Yep. We can go to the next step. That is configure URLs in urls.py. That is under app1. So we have to create a new file called as urls.py. In urls.py, we have to add from django.urls. Let's import path. Then from app1, we have to, from views, we have to import home. We'll get to that in just a minute. URL patterns, path to home. Now, since we have called a home, we have to create a home as well, right? So we go to views.py. In views.py, we will create a home. This will basically view, handle user requests and response. Functions in view process form or data. They pass dynamically data to templates for display. We'll be creating display in just after, in the next step. So let's just create a home function, home request. We will return render request path. Sorry, path is here in this case app1 dot index dot html, and then we create a param. Mm, just a second, please. Yep, yep. Let's say param1. Let's create a string that is hello world for now. Once this is done, let's go to next step, that is step 6, create templates. Yep. So we got to create templates under app1, new folder called as templates. Under templates, we have to again create another folder that is the same, which should have the same name as the app, that is app1. This templates store HTML for user interface. It keeps the Python code separate from the design. And organizing by app1 avoids conflicts later on. Now let's create index.html. This is our HTML file. Yep, the boilerplate has been pasted. Let's name it for now bank form, since we will kind of represent a bank in this project. We will let the consumer know, sorry, the customer know how much simple interest they will be receiving after a certain period of deposit. Okay. So moving forward, this structure makes the project modular and maintainable. Let's go to step 7, that is running our project in a local server. Yeah. Before that, the param one, that is the parameter one which we have created, let's just put it here within the p tag. Let's not forget the p tag, paragraph tag. Yeah. Once that's done, we can just sorry, we can just run the server, that is Python manage.py, run the server, run server. In just a minute, it will run the server. Just go to click this link. Yep. In the under this, let's go for app one. Yes, we have a hello world. Now this will dynamically change as I change the string in the, let's say hello world. I'll just change it to hello Aditya for now to just show you. I'll just refresh it and it will become hello Aditya as we see. Now since this is done, we can proceed with our next step, that is using calculating the simple interest. Let's calculate the simple interest. We'll be calculating the simple interest in views.py itself. So let's go for it. For simple interest, we need three main things, that is principal interest, sorry, principal, amount, time, and rate of interest. So let's go P, that is our principal amount, let's say 1000 for now. Rate, let's say 10%, whereas time, let's say 5 years. So simple interest is equal to, in brackets, P into T into R. I'm using the brackets so that if I don't use the bracket, then R will be divided by 100 and it will be multiplied with the rest of the things. Let's not do that. Once that's done, we also have to give out the total amount, which will be principal amount plus the simple interest. Now we have to give all of them, let's say param2 total, and param3, that is simple interest. Let's also give out param4. Let's give out PTR as well. P. Let me just do it quickly. Yeah. So now we have given out hello Aditya total. Okay, let's just change it to name as well. For now, just for now. I'll just create something called name. and I'll name it as Aditya. Once this is done, we have to make changes in the index.html as well. Uh, and I already have a small template here which I'll be putting it in my, so I don't, yep, yes, that's good, fine. Change it to param1. Now, to compare the values, for a second, I'll just use the, yep. So param1 is our name, so dear name, you will get amount of rupees. We'll be using our param2 after dash years, that is time, that is param5 years at, we need the rate of interest as well, that is our param5, sorry, param6. Param6 interest for your principal amount of rupees param4. Yep. Maturity date we can calculate later on as we move forward. We'll get the amount of rupees. Yeah, let's just verify it once. Let me just close this and let me just verify it. If I just, yep. Dear Aditya, you'll get rupees of 1,500 after 5 years at a 10% interest rate, principal amount of rupees 1,000. Fine. So now we have to calculate the maturity date. For that, we'll be using a module called as datetime in Python. I'll be executing that separately and then I'll just attach it in my VS Code. So let's go to idle. In idle, I'll open a new file. Let me just close this. Just give me a moment. I'll say this as 30.py. Okay. In now, let's follow the. Oops. Just a second. Yep. Yep. Fine. Since this is done, this is also done. Yeah. The question for the audience is that now, if let's say today is 21st September 2025, what is the best way to calculate the date exactly after 5 years from now on? Let's think about it for a moment. Some of you might say we need to add 5 years to the year, and I would say that's correct. But a better way of doing that would be adding 365 into 5 years. Don't you think? Let's try that out. So I'll import date time as dt. Today is equal to dt dot date time dot now. Let's print out today. Let's see if it works. F5. Yep, it's working. So it's printing out the time that is 10 o'clock, 10:50, and the today's date. So let's say I want something called future date or maturity date, MRT DAT, MRT date. Okay, let's say today plus because it's after dt dot time delta days is equal to 365 in a year into let's say 5 years for now. For now, print mtr date. Oops, sorry, mtr date. Yeah, let's try. So it's showing 2030. That means it's doing its job perfectly fine. Let's say 6 years, so it should be 31. Yep, it is showing 31. That means we are going in absolutely a correct direction. I'll just, sorry, what did I do? Yep, let's just go back to our VS Code and I'll create a separate function called calculate. All right, so Yep. Instead of this print, I'll just remove this print and I'll give it as return. I'll give it as no, I have to print out today's date as well as the MTR date. Yep. And we'll take in only one parameter, that is time, because yep, let's say t, because the t here is 5 years, so it will take in the t and it will give 365 into t, which is the same as 365 into 5. So we'll have to create list one, let's say an empty list, and the list one should contain calc date of t. The list one of 0, sorry, we'll have to create today. Let's say date one is equal to calc date. So sorry, list one of 0. So basically what happens is when you're creating a list, the elements get stored in form of I mean in the index of 0, 1, 2, and so on. So when we did list one is equal to calculate, the values, that is today and MTR date, went into list one. So today will be in list one of 0, whereas MTR date will be in list one of 1. List one of 1. So now we can also give out param 7 and 8, let's say date 1, whereas param 8 will be our MTR date. Following till now? And we need to make the changes in the today's date is param 7, whereas my maturity date will be param 8. Yep, let's just confirm. Will be 2030 and it will be 2025. Yep, let's go back to our steps. Yep, so we did exactly as suggested. We calculated the date time. So calculate calculates future date from today. It imports date time model for date operations. Today stores the current date and time, whereas date one adds 3 years using time delta. It returns both current and future dates as list. List one is used to store values as we did here. Let me show you. In views.py, we used list one to calculate to store the values of calculate. The parameter we passed was t, which is our time in months. Sorry, time in years. Okay. Moving forward, now comes the main part, that is forms.py. Forms.py is basically used to create form fields for the users in the web page. So we saw the web page here. Here you will have a form to fill in and then you'll get the output. That is your name, etc. So let's try it out. So sorry, 1 second. Yep. So yeah, we'll have to do this. Let's do it. We'll have to create a new file called as forms.py. In forms.py, let's from Django, we have to import forms, module forms. Let's create a class called as input form using forms.form. Now let's take in our values. First value we can take in p, that is forms dot integer field will take in because integer field will take in because usually never nobody lends out money in paise, all do it in whole rupees. So let's go with that. Forms dot minimum value, let's set it as 1000 rupees, whereas maximum value we can set it as 10,000 rupees. Label is something which is used to uh, tell the user who is going to enter the values as to what he's to enter. Enter the principal amount. Okay, let's take in the same forms dot integer field. I'll do it quickly. Minimum value, let's set it as 1 year, whereas maximum value we can set it up to 10 years. The label thing remains the same. but we'll just ask them to enter the timing years. Let's take in rate. When it comes to rate, it gets a little interesting because we don't just take it in integer field, we'll take it as float field because uh, rate usually we have also observed rate as 6.2, 6.5, 7.2, and so on. So let's take it as that. Max value, let's set it up as 15.0 for now. We can set it anything actually, but for now, let's take it set it so. Please, no, enter your rate of interest. Yep, in percent interest. We can add. It's fine. Once this is done, we can close forms.py. Let's see our documentation, what our documentation says. Forms logic is done. Okay, now we have to go to index.html to present the form as well. So let's create a form for that. Yep. The form method should always, for this case, should be post. Then comes CSRF token. CSRF token is for protection from attacks. Once this is done, we ask the form as paragraph. Form as P, one second. Form as P renders all forms neatly. We will include, we did include fields such as name, principal, time, rate. One second, let me just confirm if I have taken it. Yeah, I missed out one field that is forms.char field, that is character field. Let's set a max length of 20 and a label saying, please, sorry, please enter your name. Yeah, and I think let's put it in the starting itself. Yep, please enter your name. Once this is done, we can close forms.py. We can close it. Yeah, yep. Now we have added the form, but we need a submit button as well. So let's create a button. Let's give it the name submit, and we also have to give it the type as submit. One second, sorry, submit. Yep. Once this is done, I think we can go to, if we refresh, we might find a submit button here. Yeah. Yep. Now here comes the most like challenge. I won't say challenging part. It's the main part because we are going to be dealing with views.py, which handles most of the logic. So let's go for it according to our. Yep. Here comes the main part, that is validating and processing the form. So we are going to add all this in our code. So I'll explain the code once it's written. Let's just, yeah. Now let's add a if condition saying if request method is post. If request method is post, form1 is equal to input form request is request post. Okay, so before that we have to from app1.forms we have to import input form, right? Yep. Now this will become green. Yeah, we're going correctly. Once this is done, we need to check if the form is valid. If form1 is valid. So what this basically does is it just verifies if the values, like let's say in character field, if someone is entering numbers, or in number field, if someone is entering characters. So it will run the program only if the form is valid, only if appropriate values have been entered in it. Okay. So once this is done, let's create data. Oh, sorry, data. Data is form1 the clean data. Yep. Now we can take in the values. Let's say name is equal to data.get name. What this basically does is it should get the name from the forms.py. Yeah, it's now in this variable the name is stored. Let's do the same for all the values. Data.get Oops, oops, oops. P. Yep. Similarly, R is equal to data.get R given T. Oh, okay, fine. Data.get T. And to maintain uniformity, let's go according to the PTR formula and put it as PTR itself. Let's not break any format. Yep. Once this is done, we can just push all of them to here. Yep. Everything looks good for now. Let me just push all the params. Let's just create a uniformity so that our code looks neat to anyone who's viewing it, not just us. And even if it should be so neat that even if we are seeing it after a long time, everything must be clear, crystal clear. Yeah. Yes. Once this is done, we have to create an else. Form1 is equal to input form and return render request app1 dot index dot html form, that is form 1. So mostly this does it. Let's just verify, continue. Yep. So we have successfully got the forms from the forms dot. Let's just enter my name. Uh, okay. Instead of putting my name, I'll enter something called Ram. I'll call someone called Ramesh. Let's say 10,000. Let's say 5 years. No, let's say 10 years. And let's say 10% interest. We submit. Dear Ramesh, will get an amount of rupees 20,000 after 10 years at 10% rate of interest for your principal amount 10,000. Maturity date of your investment will be September 19, 2035, and today's date is September 21, 2025. So, congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. We have successfully executed the assignment within, I think, half an hour or so. So, yeah, we have got our output. Let's just once confirm. I entered Ramesh. Ramesh came 20,000. Yep, 20,000 is correct. Yeah, maturity date is also correct because I entered 10 years. So 2025, 10 years is, and it has also reduced 1 day. So yeah, it's working perfectly fine. So yes, our code is working fine. That means it's correct. So we have created a simple Django web application where user enters principal, time, rate, and name. Form captures input safely and cleanly and calculates simple interest and total amount and displays results dynamically on a web page and instantly. App demonstrates end-to-end Django workflow clearly. And this was it.